everyone. Before we jump in here, we'd like to just ask all participants to please don't click on any of the links that you're seeing come up in the chat. There are, unfortunately, some malicious links that have been placed into the chat, and they have been reported to LinkedIn, okay? So with that, thanks for joining us today for our LinkedIn Live event, where we're going to discuss sustainable engineering careers at Eaton. I'm Jackie Morgan, the Vice President of Global Talent Acquisition, and I'll be moderating our session today. For those of you joining today who may not be familiar with Eaton, we're classified as a diversified industrial, and we operate the organization as an intelligent power management company. Our mission is to improve the quality of life and the environment through the use of power management technologies and services. Our engineering teams here at Eaton are a highly valued global community of nearly 10,000 engineering professionals working in technology domains like power electrics, energy systems, material sciences, additive manufacturing, industrial 4.0, digital technologies, and cybersecurity. Together, we use all of these technologies to make our world more sustainable, doing our part to help protect the future of our planet. As the head of talent acquisition, my role is to lead a global team of recruiters whose dedicated focus is to attract the best talent across the globe. So today, we're going to discuss what engineering is all about at Eaton and provide a glimpse into the exciting engineering career opportunities that are available here. So with me today, I have a panel of amazing engineering leaders from around the world. And in a moment, each of these panelists is going to introduce themselves. They're going to tell us about their role here at Eaton, their tenure, their location, and some of the most exciting projects that they work on. So with that, Anne, can I hand it to you to get our introductions kicked off?
Sure, thanks, Jackie. I'm really happy to be there with my dear colleagues, Panika and Kiran. So my name is Anne Lily White. Don't get mistaken by the name. I'm a French citizen. You probably have figured that out already. I'm based in Switzerland, and I joined Eaton in 2020. I'm a hardware engineer, I would say electronics, electric as well, and I studied in France. I've worked in three main industries: telecoms, aerospace, and now electrical with Eaton. Mostly in France, but I had the privilege to spend 3 years in Czech Republic, and now I'm based in Switzerland for 2 years. At Eaton, I'm the engineering leader for R&D in EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So I work with all our businesses to make sure that our engineering community stays connected and aligned as much as possible. But also, I'm the happy leader of our Prague Innovation Center, and you'll get to know a bit more about that center as we speak. I would say the most interesting project that I've worked on so far has been mostly on creating great teams. And Jackie, thank you so much to the talent acquisition team. We're doing a lot together, I would say, and I will talk more about the projects, but really building diverse teams in this EMEA region has been for me the most thrilling experience so far.
Panika?
Thank you, Jackie. And this is Srikumar Panika here. I currently am Vice President for Engineering and Operation for the Eaton India Innovation Center in Pune. I'm based out of Pune. I've been working with Eaton for last 17 years and primarily work in various engineering areas in the areas of research, new product development and existing product areas. Prior to this, I've been having a lot of experience on primarily on in the areas of industrial domain, as well as in the areas of a lot of areas in terms of analytical instrumentation field. So at Pune Center is one of the largest multidisciplinary engineering footprint located out of Pune, and we have a large engineering space here, which with the portfolio around research, engineering, and new product development. So I'm looking forward to this particular meeting, this particular event, to really span out the engineering career in Eaton. Thank you.
Sure. Yes, your team keeps us very busy, Panika. Kiran?
Thank you, Jackie. First of all, I want to wish everybody who's attending here, happy World Engineering Day. My name is Kiran Kakkari. I am the Vice President of Industry Application Development within the Eaton Digital Office. I'm based in the United States. I'm responsible for segment-specific intelligent power management solutions. I joined Eaton. I'm relatively new Eatonite. I joined Eaton last April. And before joining Eaton, I had a long tenure in 3M in various engineering roles delivering connected solutions. I'm an electrical and computer engineering by training, and I have passion for creating new businesses, especially around digital and connected products.
All right, great. Thanks, Kiran. So I'd like to just remind all of the folks with us today that we will be answering questions that come directly from all of you. So please submit your questions via the comments section. We're going to do our best to respond to as many as we can. And again, please remember, don't click on any of the links that you're seeing come up. Some of them are malicious and we have reported them. So now for our very first question. As we know, sustainability is a priority at Eaton, and as an organization, we have very ambitious sustainability targets that are in place for us to achieve by 2030. So how are engineers in your organization inside of Eaton helping to make a low carbon future possible? Anne, if you could maybe take this first question.
Sure, thank you. As you mentioned, we've committed to our product customers and to the street a very challenging sustainability goal. And it has been flown down to every one of us, not just engineering, but I would say all functions and businesses. But as far as engineering is concerned, I would focus on two main areas. Of course, we are looking at our products portfolio, and we are looking at our current and future states. So for the current products, we're doing our best to modify them as much as possible, redesign if needed, and make sure that we are in control of their carbon footprint as much as we can. And for new products, of course, from start, we would incorporate strong new development guidelines to make sure that we are going to know exactly what is the impact. And to do that, Eaton has created a center of excellence to help us all in engineering. It's called a Sustainability Center of Excellence, which is led by my friend Heinz. And he is giving us all guidelines. We have put in place lots of key performance indicators and methodologies so that we can really understand from start what is going to be the impact of every component that we use. I would encourage you to check our Eaton website and the blog that Heinz and I have created, because this gives a lot of tips that can be reused by any of you through your career. Also, we are taking care of our sites. Eaton has developed something which is called the Green Up Awards. It's a fun competition so that all our sites can compete and submit ideas to reduce their own footprint. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm really happy to say that in Prague, we won this award, and we've been getting some funding to improve our footprint for our site, buying some photovoltaic panels and equipping our garage with more AV chargers. And I will stop there because I could speak about that for long.
That's great. Congratulations, Anne. Kiran?
Thank you, Anne. Thanks for the details that Anne provided. It's a fact that we're seeing energy transition happen at a phenomenal pace in the world. The projections call out for 50% of the world's electricity is estimated to come from renewable resources in the next 15 years. As these resources come on board, it means the need for more distributed energy resources. So Eaton's taking these sustainability needs head on. We have intelligent product solutions such as demand response load control relays, microcontroller, microgrid controller solutions, energy aware UPS systems that help our customers use energy sustainably, whether it's a large data center or a commercial residential building. As far as the new products go that Dan talked about, we have what's called a positive impact framework, where we're incorporating questions into the design itself. The new product that Eaton's going to come out with, is it going to impact the environment positively? And that's a gating criteria for us. And finally, with all these changes happening around the world, we are enabling an everything as a grid approach, which helps us deliver digital solutions for our customers, whether it's a home or an office or a factory or transportation. It does not matter, everything as a grid. And we have solutions helping our customers meet their business objectives as well as sustainability objectives everywhere.
That's great, Kiran. Thanks for sharing that. So folks at Eaton, we like to say that we make what matters work. It's really our motto. So how does the work that you and your teams do have an impact on people's everyday lives? Anne, would you like to take this first one?
I'm back. I don't know if you could see me. Hello. Sorry.
Yes, we have you back.
Thanks. Yes, of course. So for those who don't know Eaton, our solutions are everywhere. Probably you don't know it, but in every building, whether it's a mall, a hospital, offices, maybe even your home, with form of course, some EV chargers, but not only. We have storage solutions, and we sell a lot of inverters and transformers. So what I could say is you're probably already using our solutions. What we want to do is now develop more software platforms to enable you to manage your energy and be autonomous as much as possible and reduce your carbon footprint, but also make some savings. So our, I would say, as individual, as a customer, as a family member, you are already using our solutions. What I'm encouraging you to do is to look at our webpage, because also we take pride in trying to inform the community on how each of us can make a difference. And we are regularly publishing some studies which explain to you what is the impact of some of your everyday habits or even your own installation on the planet. So we really want not only to sell our solutions, but try to educate our population. And we welcome also your ideas on how we can make our products better.
Thank you, Anne. Panika?
Thanks for the question. I think, one of the important things that is driving the mega trends across the world is around a sustainable solution for electrification, right? I mean, as we're getting into more electric vehicles, Eaton has a big play in this particular area. And what we have is we have capabilities in Eaton understanding the vehicle domain combined with our capabilities around the electrical in terms of power electronics and large scale inverter capabilities that we have for the UPS segment, our power distribution and protection capabilities that we have in the electrical sector. With this combined capabilities, actually our engineers are building high voltage power electronics for traction inverters or DC-DC conversions or for onboard chargers for the EV vehicles. Also, our engineers are actually actively working on the e-powertrain components, including the EV transmissions. And so these components go, in all your vehicle, both in the commercial as well as in the passenger cars that you can see in your. And the most important thing I believe that's differentiated is so our products are highly reliable, highly safe, and highly in terms of efficient, and they become an important part of this electric vehicle infrastructure and directly impact the carbon footprint reduction for a sustainable solution for the transportation globally. So I can clearly see that we are impacting our daily life in terms of the transportation areas for electric vehicles.
Yeah, that's great, Panika. Thank you for sharing that. So folks, just a reminder to our audience, please do submit your questions in the chat. We'll start taking questions here in a moment, but before we do that, one more question for our panelists. How does Eaton support real innovation within the engineering function? Eaton as an organization, how do we support that? Panika, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, one of the important things is, we as engineers are actually challenged every day to develop innovative solutions for our customers. And so our engineers are actively involved, to really bring in new innovations along with the customers that impacts significantly to the end users. And it's not only about the product and the technology innovation that we are actively being challenged, but we are also looking at how we can actually improve our internal process innovation so that we can bring more and more efficiency and more effectiveness inside. And I believe one of the important thing is about how we really drive the culture of innovation internally. So we do have an environment, our the innovation center in Pune itself is created with the aim of really creating that innovation environment. And the second thing I believe is more around the people in terms of having that right kind of talent and right kind of mix of competencies to really innovate. And of course, the process plays an important role, but I think more important is that culture of innovation within Eaton. I can admire that we have significantly been able to impact the businesses, and also the fact that the last year in our center here has come out with close to more than 120 patents or trade secrets as part of this entire innovation process. So I believe it's part and parcel of our everyday life, but engineers have been challenged to do more on the innovation space.
That's great. Kiran?
Thanks, Jackie. Very important question. For me, the innovation starts with our customers, right? So first and foremost, we need to be able to understand what our customers' pain points are, both articulated as well as unarticulated. So we've done what we've done is have our application engineers and solution architects who are out in the field every day, talking to customers in multiple segments and bringing those pain points and unarticulated needs. These feet on the ground are working hand in glove with our engineering teams to help us design products that address these customer pain points head on, right? Meet first time around. We are also incorporating from our business aspects the macro trends. What's happening in the world? Energy transition as an example, right? Urbanization as an example. And we've created the centers of excellence. Ann and Panika talked about those early on: product stewardship, cybersecurity, distributed energy. We've brought all of these together, and we weave the practice and governance into our best kept secret, the Eaton business system. Eaton is a company that's 100 plus years old. It is a secret to our long success over this long period of time, and the DNA that drives us forward. So all of that is weaved into our business system, how we practice day in and day out. We support our engineers with the latest and greatest tools and technologies, right? So we hire bright people, we set them up for success, and then we provide them the freedom and give them the tools to innovate. And that's shown us that we can sustain a success over a long period of time by meeting our customer needs, by hiring smart people, and then providing them the tools and technologies to innovate.
That's great. Thanks, Kiran, for sharing that. Anne?
So thanks. I would simply try and add a little bit of a different perspective. So Panika, you and I are leading some innovation centers, and I just want to make sure people understand what it means. What is an innovation center? How does it differentiate from, I would say, a normal engineering location? So what Eaton has done with innovation centers is to invest some corporate money into specific places and specific people who will be able to start and try new technologies and maybe fail sometimes, but fail fast, to enable then our business to continue to focus on their main products, and then we inject into the businesses these technologies. The great thing for our engineers in those places is that they have time allocated for innovation, that the company is investing a lot into the labs and into expensive equipment in one place. And so by doing that, we really are enabling the engineers to have some dedicated bandwidth. As we all know in our careers, business is business, and to dedicate time to innovation as such, I think is a great move from our company. This helps a lot our engineers to get this time and then give it back to the business. These innovation centers have been put in strategic places, close to universities and to key technological areas. And in Europe, with Prague, as you know, we are close to the EU body. We are aware of the latest regulations and what is coming, and part of standards, also committees, so that we can anticipate what's coming and develop more innovative solutions.
That's great, Anne. Thanks for sharing that. To build on what all of you have been just talking about, right? As we think about early talent, we have a couple of questions coming in from the audience. So from Maria, she asks, how do you encourage your leaders to evaluate and assess talent on potential rather than experience, especially as we think about our university talent and folks with maybe not so many years of experience in the market? Who would like to take that?
I can start if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I would say we have a lot of position for interns. I mean, for me as a site leader, this is where I'm trying to get as much talent as possible, so that, like you said, we can see if the person is going to be able to succeed in our I would say in our location, but mainly if they are going to learn with us, because what we're looking for is for people to learn. So I would say, for my part, very concrete answer, lots of interns position, and we give it a try. You can count on us to try with early talents as much as we can.
That's great.
Yeah, so-
Panika or Kiran?
I can add a little bit to that. In addition to what Anne said, some of the things we're coaching our leaders on is training on performance bias, as an example, right? So looking at experience versus potential, especially for new areas such as digital transformation and Internet of Things, it is going to be hard to find people early on in their career to have had that experience. So what we're looking for, what we're encouraging our leaders to look for, is learning agility. Does the candidate have the right mindset to learn, to get out of their comfort zone, to pick up new technologies that are necessary for these? And then do they have the attitude, right? Our leadership attributes, we take those very seriously. Do they have the passion? Do they have the organization, the strengths to build organizational capabilities that are going to be necessary in these new areas? So it's okay if you don't have all the boxes checked on the experience, as long as you demonstrate the potential, and we look for those.
That's great. That's great. Panika, did you want to share something there? I saw you jump in.
Definitely. I think we do hire, approximately 150 to 200 people every year from the campus in India. And so we have a lot of experiences of, how we really bring the talent, fresh talent into our organization. Like Kiran's, what he spoke, I fully agree with, what he just spoke about. It's more about the learning agility and the potential for, taking up future roles. So one thing that also we do, in addition to going and hiring from the campus, we have an active engagement with the university around. Our people itself will go and teach. They actually become partnership in terms of sponsoring projects. So all of that actually helping us to really help the new fresh candidates when they come to our place. At the same time, we are also evaluating through some of these initiatives that we are doing with the campuses.
That's great. So another question from the audience, folks, and this is from Faisal. What are some of the challenges that Eaton faces making our products more sustainable? Who would like to take that?
I can start if no one wants to. So I would say the challenge, is the bandwidth and the size of the projects. As I mentioned, we have a huge install base, and we are still developing products every day. So we always have to make a trade-off between, okay, we focus on creating new products, sustainable from the start, and we've made that decision, so that's done. And then looking at our install base, how are we going to course correct some of our products which we know could be better? So we are doing that by prioritizing. The main challenge was really to measure where are we, how can we have, let's say, at least a framework where we know exactly what our impact is, and now we have that. So we take a very systematic approach, and product by product we are taking decisions according to timeline, impact, customer needs, and material availability.
Yeah, that's great. Panika or Kiran?
Yeah, I think one of the other attributes that we are looking at in terms of the challenges of creating sustainable solution is about the mega trends that we are looking at, right? I mean, so we do have our focus around those mega trends to see how the products and the innovations can come from those areas. So definitely there is an attribute to what we do is towards electrification, the digital solutions, and and the energy transitions. And we do see definitely in terms of the customer wants and needs, and how to really align with that is one of the major challenges. So we involve our customers early in the life cycle of new technology development. So I think that's how we try to mitigate some of these challenges.
That's great. So, folks, let's talk about engineering careers here for a moment, one of my favorite topics. So while Eaton has a traditional hardware base, we are in the midst of a huge digital transformation, as we've been referencing here today. So it's a very exciting time to be inside of the company, no matter what function you're in. But for our engineers, how does this digital transformation impact them? And what are some of the unique advantages that they have working for a company like Eaton? So, Anne, maybe we could start with you.
Thanks. Sure. So I would say this transformation is happening in various counts, right? So, and Kiran, I'm sure you have a lot to say on that. What I would like to maybe focus on is for our engineers themselves. So first, we are digitalizing our own operations. I mean, trying. There's lots to do there. And it's great for us as leaders, as decision makers, to be able to rely on some clear data to make a call, whether it's going to be for a project cost or whether it's going to be simply with data analytics coming from the field. So that would be the internal part of digitalizing ourselves. And then we have created a digital office, which is developing platforms and tools for the engineers, like Kiran mentioned. So for an engineer, you could elect to be part of that fantastic team, which is developing the smart solutions, which will be our platforms of tomorrow. But if you prefer to be hands-on, then you can elect to be in the business and simply develop the solution based on those platforms and be more, I would say, customer-focused, application-focused, and solution-oriented. So you have different careers according to where you want to be on that journey.
Kiran?
Good. Thanks, Jackie. Appreciate Anne providing and setting me up for success here. Thanks, Anne. As she mentioned, digital transformation is opening up new career paths, right? I'll start with myself. I'm an example. I joined in April of last year, thanks to the creation of Eaton Digital Office. And we have career paths for our engineers in up-and-coming areas, data science, Internet of Things, cloud and mobile solutions, the latest and greatest in embedded and software sciences. If you search up BrightLayer, Eaton BrightLayer, as part of our BrightLayer strategy, we are developing and delivering platforms, analytics, applications, connected devices. So there's no shortage of roles and talent. There's a shortage of talent. There's no shortage of the things to do. And as part of that, there are opportunities in multiple spaces, irrespective of which segment we are in. Eaton's large footprint and Eaton's foray into different regions means that we have different flavors of devices. There are some in the buildings and commercial spaces. There are some in the utilities. There are opportunities in the data center market. There are opportunities in emergency lighting. You name it. We're everywhere. And if not for these, for those interested in going beyond their technical capabilities, if you want to exercise, let's say, a new muscle, you have options such as product ownership, customer-facing solution architecture, field application engineering, and more. So no matter what flavor you choose, we have something for everybody, and we are accelerating the pace of digital transformation within the company. So we do hope we are generating enough interest here. The war for talent is on, and the train's taken off, and we hope you join us here on the journey.
Thank you, Anne and Kiran, for that. So with that in mind, right, as we think about the most innovative businesses here at Eaton, what are some of the key areas that in engineering that Eaton is hiring for right now? Panika?
Hey, thanks, Jackie, for the question. I think one of the important things is we are very uniquely positioned globally with a very diverse mix of products and for various markets and segments. And that opens up a lot of ideas and new innovative opportunities. And in order to meet those objectives, we are hiring our technologies in the areas of digital, like Kiran mentioned, especially in terms of data science, data engineering, software development, especially in terms of embedded, automotive, AUTOSAR, and cloud engineers a lot. We are also hiring a lot of space in power electronics for the electric vehicles infrastructure development, both in terms of power electronic designers, the modeling and simulation capabilities, the EMI, EMC testing, and also for the mechanical and electrical engineers, for product engineers for new product development, reliability engineers for doing the assessment for reliability of the products, and also in the advanced research areas, including advanced materials, additive manufacturing, I would say, and then energy systems, and also for prognostics and diagnosis. So there's a wide variety of skills, engineering skills or skill area that we are looking to hire globally, as well as in our innovation center in Pune.
Absolutely. Anne, how about for
So
your
thanks.
area?
Yeah, thank you guys. Well, I think Panika, you've listed everything. What I would say, it's true, we hire into so many domains that I would say you could list any kind of engineering, you can be sure there is something for you at Eaton. But I would just like maybe to come back to your question, Jackie. You said our businesses are all innovating, and this is true. Even if you've been at Eaton for 20 years, you cannot not innovate. So for our traditional, I would say, jobs, and when I started to work, these jobs were not existing. So what we propose here is really a career of learning and every time getting aligned with the new technologies. I would just like to mention back to innovation that each business now has their innovation leader. We are really trying to meet regularly and have horizontal activities. And we've launched an innovation cup this year, which with everyone who participated, so people from Kiran's team, Panika's team, and we really want to make that like a value, and I would say an everyday innovation for all of us. So regardless of what is your engineering expertise, even if you work in a very traditional, heavy mechanical duty, there is still this innovation that will come to you and ask you, what can we do different and better to make it a better company for our customers?
Yeah, that's great. So shifting gears just a little bit here to learning and development. So how has Eaton or how has working at Eaton helped engineers to progress their career, right, in terms of learning and development opportunities that are available to them? So Kiran, maybe if we could start with you.
Thanks, Jackie. In my short tenure at Eaton, I have observed firsthand, benefited from the opportunities that Eaton provides for learning. We are very good at helping our engineers grow via learning as well as development opportunities. This continuous learning is embedded into our culture, right? That's where learning agility is one of the things we look for. We follow the 10, 20, 70% model, where 10% of the learning is happening through learning pathways, 20% is through collaborative learning and projects with other people, and 70% on hand, hands-on on the job. As part of learning agility, we have digital upskilling, design thinking workshops, several courses available for engineers within what we have as a Eaton University. All it takes is your initiative to learn. We've also embedded some of this learning as a curriculum where every engineer has to learn something new, or they're brushing up their skills. We have leadership opportunities, leadership acceleration programs. And then finally, talking about the experiential learning assignments, we have what's called a stretch assignment marketplace, where if you're an engineer, you're interested in doing something new that may not be available within your realm of work, within your own division, then you can go and find a project to work on through the stretch assignment marketplace. We have several divisions over several regions in the world. So there's no shortage for anybody having the innovative mindset and the initiative to take something on and reinvent themselves.
That's great. Panika?
Thanks, Jackie. I think one of the unique thing about the innovation centers, both in Prague as well as in Pune, is that we have all businesses under one roof. That's one of the unique advantage for all of us. So, the engineers have an option to really progress their career once they spend good amount of time, probably for example, in a automotive, for 3 years, and then they can experience the either a aerospace or a electrical domain like power distribution or a power systems or power quality within the same organization without moving out, which is a very unique experience that innovation centers offers from both Prague as well as from Pune. And so we have a lot of learning opportunities through these on-the-job rotations from one businesses to another, so that they are gaining the domain knowledge as well as their technical skills. In addition to that, we do have certain programs that are initiated at the Innovation Center, which is also taken to globally. Like we have an upskill reskill program called Skill Lab, which is really for future-ready skill areas like power electronics, cybersecurity, and for digital areas like cloud and other stuff. So the program actually is enabling people to to have both assignments, projects, and kind of a curriculum, so that they would be able to upskill or reskill from their current areas. That's on the technical front. But on the leadership side, again, we have a lot of assignment, especially for early leadership talent programs. We do have something called ETLP. We do have early manager career programs. We also have very specific career programs for women leadership. We have something called Stand Tall in Pune, with basically giving mid-level leadership career programs for women, and providing that experience and the exposure required for them to do future assignments. And like Kiran mentioned, there are a lot of assignment opportunities within, whether it's a problem statement from a division or a businesses, or even some of these programs initiated through some projects, either through internal or from the end customer. So there is a lot of opportunities to apply the learnings that the engineers take through some of this learning process, and be ready for future careers, across Eaton. And in fact, one of the things that we have also done is we're also having people rotate globally. In fact, between the two centers, we have many people that we have rotated in the past, so that they're getting the experience beyond the region. So there's a lot of opportunity in learning, developing, and also getting different career experiences within Eaton.
That's great, Panika. Yeah, learning and development for all, and certainly no shortage of those opportunities here at Eaton. So great discussion. We have a few more questions coming in from the audience. So I'm going to take one from Adatha. She's asking, what are the specific climate targets that Eaton has set for the next 10 years?
I can take that if you want. And again, I encourage you to look at our website. So by 2030, we aim to halve the carbon emission from our operations, to certify all our manufacturing sites as zero waste to landfill, and to achieve carbon neutral operation. So you see, it's in less than 10 years already. And we're investing more than 3 billion in R&D over the next 10 years to create sustainable and energy efficient solutions for our customers. And by 2030, we're committed to a 15% reduction in emissions from our install base of product. And this refers to what I was explaining earlier, our current work on the existing base. And we are regularly publishing in our sustainability report how are we making progress, but we are very well positioned to making our goal.
So, Jackie, I just wanted to add that the goals that Anna just talked about, our goals are aligned to address the climate changes, and are also science-based and in line with the global limiting temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So I think the goal that we have taken is actually in line with the global the climate change policies, and are based on science-based methods.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Panika. So we have another question coming in from Ali, and this is around IoT solutions. So as we know, IoT, many manufacturers say that it is the future of technology. So what is Eaton doing to focus on IoT solutions?
I can start with this one. Eaton's doing a lot, actually. Most of our products are B2B. That may be one reason why business-to-business products. So one reason why people may not be aware of exactly what we do in certain areas. If you look at the utilities market, we have connected solutions around load control relays, our software solutions talking to thermostats and things like that for helping customers manage their energy utilization and optimize it. If you look at the building segment, we have smart circuit breakers, and the list goes on and on, right? If you look at our industrial control products, let's take agriculture, for example, we have variable frequency drive that can operate with mobile devices. So farmers can optimize the amount of water usage and other things for their farming. So the list goes on and on. We have so many products with the IoT, building energy management systems, and we are continuously innovating to be relevant to our industry. Another example, I would bring out is our green motion electrical vehicle charging systems. Those are also IoT connected products. How do you optimize energy utilization in a commercial building with charging networks and other building management systems all working together? All of that's stitched in the backbone through IoT networks and IoT technologies.
I would just add one more example about the predictable solution that we have for data centers primarily, where the data that is generated from the UPSs are getting monitored, and also not just only monitoring the data, but we are also predicting some of the failures of at the component level, or in terms of prediction capabilities for battery performance. So we do have some real products that are actually getting into data center segments for the UPS and the battery technologies for prediction as well as for monitoring.
I would simply add very quickly that the benefit of our platform approach is we have an IoT platform, I would say, ready to use by the businesses who want to connect their assets. So it helps us accelerate tremendously.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you all for sharing that. So inclusion and diversity, part of our sustainability strategy here at Eaton. So how do engineering leaders ensure that their teams are diverse? Diversity of thought, background, gender, ethnicity, experience, all of the above. Anne, do you maybe want to start with this one?
Sure. Thanks, Jackie. First, look at us, right? I would say. So, of course, Eaton is an amazing company for that, because I would say not just for engineering leaders, but we have amazing employee resource groups. And I just explain quickly what it is, because it was new for me when I joined. In fact, we have employees who are leading these diversity activities, not just on gender, but also for people who have disabilities, for our veterans in the US, for Hispanic people or Asian or African in Europe, also for, I would say, for LGBT, for also senior, any kind of group which could feel different has their employee resource groups. And anyone can participate to those groups. You don't have to, you can join these groups after 1 month at Eaton or 20 years. So I would say this is everywhere, which is great, because any place you go, you can feel this representation. Of course, in HR, in the talent team, but also in our leadership team. So I would say that's the foundation of the inclusion and diversity, which us to recruit more talent. But also in the news, if you look, I mean, Eaton has been recognized as the leading companies in Europe for diversity and inclusion. Myself in Prague, I'm happy to say I have 27 nationalities on site. And like I mentioned earlier, it's really key for us to make sure that we have open doors to everyone and anyone, and that then people will feel at home. That's really important. And then we have I&D Council in our premises, again, to ensure that. And lately in Prague, I'm happy to say we completed an audit to make sure that our building was accessible to disabled people. And we learned things that we didn't know we have missed. So it's really important we always remind ourselves to be inclusive.
Thank you for sharing that, Anne. Kiran, how about in your organization?
Thank you, Jackie. And Anne's response was spot on in terms of ERGs. I'll address, maybe I'll add on a little bit to that. So it's diversity and inclusion are very serious things for us. This is reflected in how we operate as a business. If you look at some of our metrics around hiring, leadership growth opportunities, diversity of thought, we are tracking diversity goals all the way from C-suite down to a manager. This is executed. You can see this being executed in our community outreach efforts as well. And we practice these goals, right? To attain these goals, you have to do things methodically day after day to meet your targets. And we practice this diversity and inclusion within our day-to-day business operations, seeking inputs from different team members, working towards consensus. If I can just add one example to the ERG, one that I am involved with, one good example is what we call our ally advocacy circles. We have women in engineering. WAVE is the ERG that's sponsoring these. And as part of this ally advocacy circle, it's, we have several 1-hour small group guided discussions to accelerate inclusion in advancements for women at Eaton, right? That's just one example of how we practice things day in and day out.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Thanks, Karen, for sharing that. So, folks, we're going to take another question from the audience. This is from Gina, and she's asking about skill set shifts for engineers and what some of those skill set shifts are for those that want to continue to develop their digital capabilities. So maybe Panika,
I can
do you
start.
want to take this? Oh, Karen, perfect.
Thanks, Jackie. Yeah, I mean, digital. It's one of my I'm passionate about IoT and digital. If you look at some of the skill set shifts we need, as I mentioned, Eaton has been around for a very long time, very successful. 100+ years of our history. Strong backbone in power electronics and electrical engineering. As we see the world shift more digital, more connected, we are going to require new skills in cloud computing, in data analytics, in high compute power, thick edge and thin edge embedded clients, embedded systems. Some of these things are getting very, very computational heavy. They're going to be requiring several features, from that may not be handled by a simple microcontroller. So we're gonna need all of these skills over the next few years here to be relevant and to be able to build successful products that are connected with a larger backbone. It's not a particular device out in the field operating on its own anymore. It's that device bridging via network to a cloud, to a higher entity that's still connected to other systems behind the scenes.
I will just add to what Kiran said. Especially we also need a lot of, as we're getting into more complicated systems, and we need also cyber security engineers to really assess the security of our IoT products and digital products. We also need to shift from a traditional, some of the, products that we have in terms of making it more intelligent. So we need a lot of people in shift in terms of having that system thinking, including the traditional products that we have. How do you make it more intelligent, and what is the effect of that at the system level? So I would say the shift in areas would be what, in addition to what Kiran said, would be more in terms of cybersecurity, system engineering, and doing that complete assessment at the certification and verification and validation at that level. So it's a complex system that you're building. So we need a lot of skill shift in terms of validating and verifying those complex systems.
That's great, Panika. We have another question from the audience, folks. So this is from Christian. We've talked a lot about early talent and hiring and developing early talent, but what about our ability to hire and onboard seasoned engineering leaders? Who would like to take that question?
I'll take this one, and this is being inclusive, right? So this is what we mentioned earlier. And for a dinosaur like me, which started 30 years ago, I know what you mean. So definitely we hire from beginners to senior. We really need seasoned people to help us coach our young leaders, especially in our innovation centers where we have a lot of young leaders. So definitely, I mean, there is absolutely no difference. All our jobs are scaled up to the degree of experience that we are needed. So we welcome everyone.
That's great, Anne. Panika or Kiran, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the innovation centers, like Anne said, we hire a lot of experienced people in Pune, and we also do look at not just only the relevant skills, but in terms of the end domain area. So how do you really make them an expert or an area in terms of either a automotive side or electric vehicle, and helping them with a lot of trainings and end exposure to the end markets, or in terms of the end applications. I would say, that's why we do have programs around that.
Great, thanks, Panika. So, folks, we're starting to get to the end of our time here. To wrap us up, I'd like to ask everyone, our panelists, one of my favorite questions. Can you share with the audience the best piece of career advice that you've received as an engineer, either from your early career days or even more recently? So Kiran, maybe if we could start with you.
Sure. Thanks, Jackie. If I have to impart one thing to the audience here, what I would say is Get out of your comfort zone to continuously learn and challenge yourself. Change and career growth, right, does not happen without some discomfort, because that discomfort is what gives you the motivation to improve and better the situation. So if you can channel yourself to get out of your comfort zone and let the learning happen, you're going to discover a lot more opportunities and new things that energize you.
Thanks, Kiran, for sharing that. Panika?
Yeah, I would say, I think accountability and commitment. I think, you need to commit yourself 100% to, the challenges that you're taking. That's, I think, the first and foremost advice. I think second one is, as you're getting into more innovation and more innovative solutions, you have to be more collaborative. The innovation is innovation needs the collaboration. So you need to be more collaborative. And I think the last one I would say, you need to keep learning your adjacencies. What strengths you're bringing. You need to enhance your skills and learn adjacencies, and also learn from your failures. And I think that's an important piece in terms of learning quickly, learning fast, and learning cheap from your failures. So I would say these are the 3 or 4 areas that I would advise. For career advice based on my experience and at Eaton.
That's great. Thanks, Panika. And what about you?
I would say follow what your inspiration and your passion. Find a job or an application which makes sense to you, because unless you have this really perception that you're doing something which makes a difference, you will not be motivated. And like Kiran said, you can't get out of your comfort zone until you have a vision of at least what you're doing makes sense. So for me, that's always been the driver in various industries, even if I was doing tiny things. As long as at the end of the day, I was thinking that it was going to make a difference for someone, I was happy. So I would say this will be probably your driver for your career. And in following that, you can never be wrong in your career choice, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So everyone, our time today is coming to an end, and I want to thank Kiran and Anne and Panika for a very engaging and insightful conversation. I'd also like to thank all of our attendees for submitting so many great questions and for sharing your time with us today. If anybody is interested in learning more about Eaton's engineering career opportunities, please visit eaton.com/careers. Right there it is on the screen. Thank you. There you can join our talent network and you can learn more about the organization. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Be well, be healthy, be safe.